Well, hello, welcome to the new video. And this time we have this very cute little car, the fourth generation of the Suzuki Swift. So let's have a closer look because it's a car I really love because it's coming back to all of the basics that a small car should have, particularly the lightweight and the very good efficiency. So let's have a closer look. So this new Suzuki Swift is only 3.8 meter long, has a wheelbase of only 2.45 meters, so it is indeed a compact car. And well, the design of the car is particularly aerodynamic. It is the most aerodynamically efficient car in its class. And let me talk you through the aspects that make it really aerodynamic, and that is the front bumper, particularly this lower part, which makes the airflow really really easy around the side of the bumper. Then of course we have this light that actually reminds me of the Maserati Grecale lights. It has the signature into the shape of the L letter. Then another aerodynamic element of the car is down here, and it is these strakes which lead the airflow around the tires. Then of course, well, now that we're here near the wheels, it is also the wheels. So the wheels have been aerodynamically improved to be good in terms of aerodynamics, and we have a very small amount of positive caster geometry because this car doesn't need to run a big amount of positive caster thanks to its conception being done absolutely correctly. In terms of the tires, we are running 185 55 R16 tires. So these are the biggest wheels that you can get. You can also get the smaller 15-inch wheels in the basic model. Then another aerodynamic element is here on the side skirts. So it's particularly this end of it that again leads the airflow, makes it much more linear. Another one is this C-pillar trim that again makes it much more linear towards the rear of the car, as well as this roof spoiler. And well, that is about it. And then we are here at the rear of the car, where we have a new lights, really strong lights, LED signature into the C letter. We have a badges of Swift and hybrid, as this car is a mild hybrid, which is pretty cool, and the fog light down here. Let's open the boot, which is really rather practical. I'm going to put the capacity somewhere in here, but it's really practical. It's a deep boot. You also have this star kit underneath, or you can even put the wheel, the spare wheel if you need. You have a light hook on this side, so really nice and practical boot for a small car, really, which I really like. Yeah. Now let's have a look at how it is sitting at the rear of this car. Just that we're here near the fuel tank. The fuel tank is 37 liters of capacity. And let me try and sit behind myself. Well, as you might expect in a compact car, it is compact, it is small, but I don't mind that. You can still put your knees behind yourself because there is just a cloth on the rear part of the seat. You have no plastic there, which is cool. And yeah, in terms of comfort, it is not as comfortable as some of its rivals because you have no air ventilation here from the central panel. But I don't mind that, really. And in the door cards, you have this space area here and the space for the bottle or can. So that is absolutely all right. And now let's have a look at the business end of the car, which is the engine. And okay, so the engine is one of the biggest improvements in this car. Before there was a 4-cylinder engine, now there is this inline 3-cylinder naturally aspirated engine named or with the type Z12E. This engine has 40% thermal efficiency on the 95 octane fuel, which is a really efficient engine. It has improved compression ratio, which is now 13.9 to 1. Before, in the 4-cylinder one, it was 13 to 1. And the power is at 60.9 kilowatts, which is 82.8 or 83 horsepower at 5,700 RPM. You have 111.8 newton meters of torque available at 4,500 RPM. And this engine has been kept the same size of 1.2 liters thanks to the bigger stroke of the engine, which is now 92.8 millimeters as compared to the 71.5 as it was before. The mild hybrid powertrain, we are running a 3 ampere hour battery under the driver's seat, which adds you 2.3 kilowatts of power, so 3 horsepower and 60 newton meters is what is available. And also the car has improvements in the suspension. We have enlarged front stabilizer, we have Teflon sheets to the stabilizer mounts, and the rear suspension has increased stroke, so that the wheels can flow with the surface much better. And also we have improved steering, which with reduced delay time of yawing response, so it is a slightly slower steering rack that you need with a small car, because a small car is very easy to manipulate and very easy to in terms of response to you. So yeah, and here what I love about the engine bay is that it's just so simple in here, so simple to, it's gonna be so simple to work on. Even these parts with the gearbox, if you need to change sometime in the future, or whereas this is the clutch, this is the this is the reverse and stuff, so easy. And you have a small, only 55 ampere hour battery, 12-volt battery, so really cool. I love that. This is a small city car that is going to last you a really long time. But more about the experience and more about how efficient it is now in the driving part. So let's take the car further down the road and let's talk about the experience with it. Oh, well, hello and welcome inside the new fourth iteration of the Suzuki Swift. And this time it is coming back to the beginnings, because Suzuki nowadays is the first car or the only car on the market that the engineers decided we are going back to the past, and we are sticking to the basics of a small car, and they've done that. But first, before the experience, let me talk you through the interior, because it is an all new interior as well, and I have to say it's a lovely interior. Let me start up the car. So really practical, fantastic layout of all of the hardware controls that you need. You get manual air conditioning. Well, in this spec it is actually also, you have the option of automatic air conditioning, but you have manual controls. You have these two switches for increasing the fan speed or the temperature, and then buttons underneath, and you have a digital display over there. You have really nice these two central air ventilation ports, then two on the sides. You have this new infotainment screen with this new infotainment software in it, which is really funky, still very colorful and very easy to use, very easy to navigate through, which I love. And it also shows you now the efficiency, which is 5.1. I'm going to tell you more about that soon. And then moving further down the interior, you have two USB-A connectors for charging. You have then one USB-C connector for charging, as well as 12-volt socket. Then you have a cave to charge your phone into. Two cup holders, quite big ones, very nice and short gear lever of a 5-speed manual gearbox. Then you have some storage area underneath the handbrake. You have a proper handbrake, which is great. And next to the handbrake, or on the sides of the handbrake, are these buttons for the heating of the seats. The seats themselves are cloth upholstery, but they have fantastic side support here for my back, which is great, and they are just so comfy. They are just really nice seats. I really do love them. The sitting position compared to the dashboard is slightly higher, but then you do not mind that in a small car. That's actually what you want. And in terms of conception, I'm sitting really quite far from front wheels, which makes you feel really comfortable while driving the car. The steering wheel, it's a thin steering wheel, it's a leather steering wheel, it's really nice to hold. The buttons, the layout of the buttons here is fantastic, so all good in that regard. And in front of me I have analog cluster with the rev counter, up to 6,000. Up to 6,000. At 6,000 is where the red line starts, and yeah, normal. And I have a digital display in the middle, which I manipulate through this stalk here, and you can change. I have the torque and power delivery there. You can have the acceleration and the brake curve. You have the powertrain sort of animation of how it works, speed. It's all right. And then on the left side, I can turn off all of the assistance that I need. I can turn off the stability system, the lane assist very quickly, which I'm going to do now. You just long press it. You can also turn off the front assist and the start and stop system as well. And also parking sensors. Then you have two levers. One is for the fuel cap, one is for the bonnet. So really nice. And I love the door, and I love the door cards. You have this wide trim in it, storage area here in the door handle, and really rather big storage area here for the bottle. So very practical as well. And one other thing, underneath my seat is the Li-ion battery, which is a part of a mild hybrid powertrain that this car boasts. Well, I think that would be about it to the interior. Let's start driving, and let me tell you, this car, my god, I love this car already so much. It's probably my most favorite car in the small car segment, apart from the Mazda 2, because this car, the engineers done such a great job with it. So the first and the most important thing, and the thing you're gonna feel the most in this car, is the lightness. So this car is stated at 994 kilos, 994, so under 1,000 kilos, with all of the nowadays accessories that you need, with the mild hybrid powertrain, Li-ion battery. I think it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant that they've achieved it, and you feel it in every single bit of the driving experience with this car. The car is incredibly light on the bumpy road. It feels like nothing can hurt it. It just skids about everything, skids over everything. I think it's a really lovely experience. And then when you speed up and you want to go into the corner, you feel the lightness of the car immediately through the corners, and you just feel all the time that you can just do it quicker and quicker because of the lightness of the car. And it has such a good grip. It's really handy. It feels like you have it in your it feels like you have it in your hands. It's amazing. So wow, really great. And the suspension is set up in a nicely controlled way. Of course, that's another advantage. It doesn't need to be because it's lightweight, so it feels like that. It doesn't have that much of a work with the weight over the bumpy surface. So really nice. In terms of the setup of the geometry of the wheels, so we are running more negative camber at the rear and a bigger toe in for the fun rear end of the car, which is great. So yeah, and then there are another technical aspects. So we have a brand new engine. It's a 3-cylinder engine now compared to the 4-cylinder before. They've given it particularly more stroke, is how they achieved it, because it's still a 1.2 liter engine. It has 82 horsepower, I think, and while if you're used to small cars with a turbo engine, you are going to feel it feels more like the cars from the past in terms of the straightforward power, but paired with this lightness of a car with a very nicely geared gearbox, which does only 3,400 RPM on the motorway, but the first gears, like second, third, there are shorter gears, good for acceleration. But it's also a nice engine. Let me show you here. So here, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. So this engine, it just goes, and it becomes alive as the revs rise. And it's really lovely with this sort of characteristic of the engine. So if you need to overtake, you just rev the engine and it just grows. It's really nice for a 3-cylinder engine, I have to say. And again, paired with lightness, this car have no problems moving about, and that is even if you load up full car of people as I've done because we went for a Christmas holiday. I had absolutely no problems apart from the motorway. I have to stay on the motorway. It was also a windy day. The car had a little bit of a problem, but look at this, so lightweight, and it corners in the right way as well, leaning onto the outer rear wheel because the big amount of positive caster geometry, so really nice. Anyway, back to so we went with a full car, and what I'm absolutely staggered by is the fuel economy. So most of the week I was driving with a full car, full luggage, four people in the car. The car was squatted down, and the fuel economy over the whole week, 5.1 liters for 100 kilometers, and that is with driving on the motorway at 130 kilometers per hour. I am absolutely staggered by this. This is unbelievable. How is the fuel economy so good? Wow. So you definitely have absolutely no problem doing that 3.9 that the manufacturer says if you're driving carefully and if you're driving alone in the car. It is absolutely incredible, you know, and this consumption 5.1 liter is without me trying to go for the trying to drive efficiently. This is I was driving also on the B roads. I was driving spiritedly. For the dynamics, I was enjoying the car, I was enjoying its characteristics through the corners, I was enjoying how fun it is. 5.1 liters still really, really good. If I compare it, also the Mazda 2 had a 5.1 liter over the whole week, so I'm absolutely staggered by this fuel economy. And then back to the gearing, so you have only a 5-speed gearbox, which for some might be a slight drawback, but really it isn't. At 2000 RPM at 5th gear, you're doing 80 kilometers per hour. 2500 RPM, it's 100 kilometers per hour, so really well geared gearbox for the car. And then let me accelerate again. We're going 70, 80, 90, 100, and the engine just rises in power. 110. It's just a beautiful engine to drive. What a lovely piece of car this is. And then another thing which is important to this efficiency that I achieved is the aerodynamics. I never thought that I'm going to tell that the small car, has the aerodynamics of the 0.26, but Suzuki engineers, they somehow achieved it, and I think it's mostly, well, it's many elements, but one big one is this curved, it's really insane amount of curvature on this front windshield. So this car is incredibly efficient. It cuts through the air like nothing. It has the aerodynamic efficiency of a saloon car of the past. 0.26, absolutely incredible. And also thanks to this, it doesn't need a big amount of sound isolation, but it's still very quiet because it cuts through the air really easily. So fantastic in this regard as well. I just love this car so much. It's really great. Well, let's go through the likes and dislikes. I have to say, for me personally, this car doesn't have any dislikes. I really do love everything about it. From the lightness, but let me tell you maybe what some other people would think is a dislike. So it would be the power of the engine. 80 horsepower, well, it kind of goes back to the past in terms of the small car, so you don't get the best dynamics. You really need to think forward before overtaking. You need to rev the engine, and at times some of those people that they just want to press on, it will not feel as dynamic, right? But I think that would be the only one, because this car is just fantastic. I mean, there are only lights with this car, and it's all down to the lightness of the car, because the lightness, it affects absolutely everything. It affects the acceleration that you can do with this engine that doesn't need that much power. It allows the car to have only a 3-cylinder engine. The Suzuki engineers, they still kept the same power with 1 cylinder less. So really great, and the lightness also affects the way you feel driving this car, because you just feel the lightness, you feel it on the bumpy road, you feel it in the corners. It's just a really lovely experience. Wow. really great, and it also affects the final fuel economy, only 5 liters. And let me tell you, I think if we really want to do something for the Mother Earth, it is not the way of doing hybrid heavy SUVs. The families, they need to put themselves into a car like this with a 5-liter fuel economy, normal engine, and this is the way. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I love this car, and I want to buy this car sometime in the future because it has all of the mechanical and technical aspects that I want and that I'm interested in the car, particularly the low weight, fantastic aerodynamics of only 0.26, and yeah, that is what staggers me about this car and about what the Suzuki engineers have been able to do. So I think that's what I wanted to tell you about the Suzuki Swift. Well, if you liked the video, I found it useful, well, keep watching, keep subscribing, because more videos are coming on very soon, and I hope to see you in the very next video. In the meantime, take care of you, and goodbye. Such a good little car, wow.